Well, well, well. It is another day. It's Friday. And of course, I can't believe that we made it, but we are here. And as always, and as always, and as always, I do not invite people to join the After Dark program, the Simply Brown on Cleveland program show. Hey, people can just log in and join in. Last week, we were very successful. We had about 1,000 views on some shiggity, shiggity, shiggity ain't, shiggity can't, shiggity boo. So if you don't catch the live program, don't forget that you can always just tune in and listen to the recording. You can always do that. My name is Kimberly F. Brown. Most people know me as Brown, simply Brown on Cleveland. And tonight we got some real hot mess. Unfortunately, coming out of the city of Maple Heights is amazing to me how so much mess goes on in that city by the Little Rascals, aka the 157 group, and that damn Democrat Party of the city of Maple Heights, and how they rig elections and the endorsement process as it appears. If you get the opportunity, I want you to go to Brown on Cleveland Newsbreak and check out the article that was just posted today regarding the endorsement meeting. I tell you, I told you guys last week, it's just crazy. And I also posted an article about Judge Sergio DiGeronimo over in Garfield Heights. The judge is doing some wonderful things. So let's go ahead and get this situation started. Oh, before I start, let me say good evening to my family members, my friends, my enemies, and my trolls. Because I'm quite sure that there are some nosy folks, some trolls, who actually mean me no good, But because for some reason they don't like me, and understand this, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, when you don't like me, I really don't care for you. So people kill me with that shiggity boo talking about, they don't like somebody. And 10 times out of 10, listen, the feeling is absolutely mutual. So we shouldn't get all concerned about folks not liking us. But let me say this before I really start. I've had a very trying week. I've had numerous phone calls all week long, and even today, people are still asking me if I am related to, oh my goodness, Mercedes Iverson Carter, Ava Carter, and her husband, Norbert Carter. Mercedes Iverson Carter is my first cousin. She's my first cousin. Her unborn child would have been my second cousin. Her husband was my cousin-in-law. So those of you who, for some reason, would question that, um, understand that my family is hurting because of the situation at hand. So you're hearing it from me. Yes, we are blood relatives. We are related. And I do understand why people have asked me that question due to the fact that I am a social justice activist as well as work for corporate America, because I help a lot of families who have lost their loved ones. Some people just thought that I was just helping this family. It's very unfortunate that God gives us all a turn, and this happens to be the turn of my family. So please continue to pray for my family, uh, and just keep us in your prayers. And again, we do appreciate the donations that um, my aunt has received to help with Mercedes and Ava's memorial. And the funeral will be held on Saturday, the 16th. Okay. All right. I don't want to talk about that because that's going to make me do some other things that I don't want to do tonight. All right. So let's just get down to it. So tonight, there's a very disturbing issue at hand. And before I say that, like I said last week, it's very unfortunate that you have some elected officials who think that they are untouchable. And as I said last week, I'll assign the pure stupid out and belief on the of this earth. Just stupid. If you are going to run for public office, or if you are an elected official, you should carry yourself that it would not be an embarrassment to the city. It would not be an embarrassment to your political party. And you guys know how I feel about that. And more so, it will not be an embarrassment to your family, especially when you're almost 100 years old. So we're going to talk about that. All right, we're going to talk about that. But government agencies, including public higher education institutions, are directly bound by the First Amendment to uphold the right to free speech. Now, in the event that you were in a private school or a private entity, the First Amendment of this here United States Constitution may or may not apply to you, depending on the circumstances. So let's go to the city of Maple Heights, because I still need to tell you about this threatening letter that was sent to an elderly white couple over in Brecksville from councilperson Stafford Shinnett. See, I got that letter right here. Here's the letter. Here's the letter on official Maple Heights letterhead. So I'm still going to tell you about this because their law director acted as though, he didn't want to address it. But he sent me this long email talking about the statute of limitations have run out and there was nothing they can do to the council person. Okay, come see, come saw. It doesn't matter. Clearly, misconduct in office. So it simply means that the General Assembly needs to change some ordinances, some policies, some legislation. So therefore, elected officials can be removed when they are charged with misconduct of office. I said it. Totally crazy. So let me tell you what happened on this past Wednesday at a Maple Heights Council meeting. Can you believe that the council president, Ron Jackson, that he tried to get the chief of police to strong arm me? Yeah, it ain't funny. Not funny at all. This is some crazy stuff. This is what you call abuse of power. And anybody knows Kimberly Brown, I don't play that game, and you shouldn't play it either. This is our lives that they're dealing with. So here's the situation. Here's the situation. A couple of weeks ago, there was a pop-up um, uh, community activity held in the city of Maple Heights. It was held in District 5, where the council person is Tangela Madden. I'm going to tell you about that joker later on, because she liked to do a lot of tough talk behind desk and when police are there. But by herself, she's not going to open her mouth. And I don't believe in fighting, because the lady is almost 100 years old, and it just doesn't make sense that when you're that old, you act terrible in public. It just does not make sense. But sometimes when people get older, they get crazier. Their behavior changed to no return. And I always thought when people got older, they would become more relaxed and more patient and more tolerant, and they would conduct themselves a little better, at 80 than they were doing at 40. Okay, but we'll talk about that situation as well. So there was a pop-up, and it was very, very successful. I was a DJ. I volunteered my DJ time. I can mix, spin, and do all of that good stuff. So the work store at Maple Heights that everybody goes to get their work uniforms and t-shirts and socks, whatever the case may be, they were the organizers. They did a great job. A lot of people came in to help, and we helped at no cost to the store, simply because the owner, his name is Bill, and Bill has been serving the city of Maple Heights for about 40 years in business over in the Mapletown area, right on Broadway, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Well, after the pop-up, Bill gave me a call a couple of days ago, and he wanted me to deliver gift baskets to several council people and the mayor, because they assisted with the process. So I had a basket for Mayor Blackwell, one for Councilperson Tim Tatum, Councilwoman Data Anderson, Councilwoman Tony Jones, Councilman Richard Trujansky, and watch this, Council President Ron Jackson. This is a mess, right? So keep in mind, we're at the council, and one of my colleagues, Margaret Patterson, she's a member of the Black Women Commission of Cuyahoga County. We go to the Maple Heights Council meeting, right? And it's very rare I go and I don't dip in Maple Heights politics. I've just helped that city since 2014. I've helped that city since 2014. I've done more for that city, probably more than any council person who's sitting there. I don't care. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. This is what it is. So we're going through this. They're going through, their public comments. So we're gonna go there. Now, during the public comments session of the council meeting, they are allowing people to speak. Well, some way, somehow, they decided to, or should I say, Councilperson Ron Jackson, from my understanding, he decided to change the rules of who can speak during a council meeting. He did not inform the public. For some reason, he think he can just change the city charter, change ordinances all by himself. No vote from the public, no proper charter amendment, no nothing. So people are now getting up to speak, right? This is crazy. This is like a dumb move. The first lady that got up to speak was a Caucasian woman, elderly woman. She used to be the dog warden of the city of Maple Heights. Now, she stated that she owns a home in Maple Heights, not necessarily live in the city of Maple Heights, but she got a chance to speak. Other people were coming up to speak, and all they had to do was tell their address. Now, you don't know if they was lying or not, because there was no check and balance about where they live. Because see, Council President Jackson came up with rules, but he didn't have any ingredients to follow. He didn't. And apparently the law director did not help him with this no process. It was just sickening. So all of these people spoke. Council President Ron Jackson, he let them speak, but he made it very clear, watch this, that he didn't want any back and forth, right? So here's the first thing that got me, kind of like pissed me off. There was an elderly white woman who got up to speak, and she was real pleasant, real nice, and she was giving a compliment, I believe, to Chief Hansen. And Mr. Jackson was so rude to her. I mean, extremely rude. Attitude just straight up funky, nasty. If he was a woman, I'd have thought he was on his menstruation. His menstrual, really, the way he was acting like he was cramping. It didn't make no sense. I started to get a brother some leave because I wanted to know really what was going on with that nasty attitude. So he pretty much embarrassed her, right? So she sat down. I'm looking at the expression on her face. I too much don't like it because I don't like when people disrespect senior citizens. That's just foul. That's foul, foul, foul. And I guarantee you now, if her children were there, they probably would have done something to this joker. Hopefully not, but it probably would have become a little bit jazzy with him because he was off the hook. So all that goes on, right? All that goes on. Shari Thomas speaks. She used to be a council person for Maple Heights. Okay, so it's my turn, right? I get up, right? And as I'm approaching the microphone, this dude says, "You can't speak." I said, "Well, why can't I speak?" He says, "Well, you have to be a resident of Maple Heights." Well, my response to him was that since 2014, everybody who have come into this council meeting have spoke, and they don't live in Maple Heights. You've had state reps come in. You've had Senator Kenny Yuko come in. He doesn't live in Maple Heights. You've had Ken Faber come in. You've had Juanita Brent come in. You've had Darnell Brewer come in. You've had developers come in. Watch this. Even the mayor's directors on her executive team, half of them, if not all, don't live in the city of Maple Heights. Don't live there. So let me understand this, partner. So all these people can speak, right? All of them. Even your chief of police does not live in the city of Maple Heights, and your law director don't live there either. So I challenged him on the charter, right? He's so dumb. He says, "Well, it's for the citizens, the residents, the residents." Well, your charter does not say residents of Maple Heights. So when you say residents, are you talking about residents of the state of Ohio? Are you talking about residents of Warrensville? Are you talking about residents of Shaker? Are you talking about residents of Cleveland Ward 1? Are you talking about residents of Garfield? Because your charter, that component is not clear. It is a slippery slope. So I've always been taught this. If you're not sure, rule on the side of caution to keep yourself safe. Well, of course, he big and bad, so he want to be tough, right? So I'm asking him now, are you violating my First Amendment rights of this here United States Constitution, freedom of speech? Of course, he couldn't answer. I asked him again. He couldn't answer. So I proceeded to speak, right? I proceeded to speak, telling them about the bags. This joker, watch this, in the climate that we live in, I'm a Black woman. I'm not a violent woman at all. But what I am, I'm a vocal woman, especially if my rights are being suppressed. And if I finish, though, I'm being mistreated and discriminated against because I'm a Black woman. He calls the chief of police, who was sitting in the back of the room, to come and have me removed. He called Chief Hansen. Now, I don't want to make this about race, but I just got to say this. In this climate, where you have police and citizens not getting along, how dare you call a Caucasian man, a police officer, to remove a Black woman from the podium? And I wasn't doing anything. I was not aggressive. I didn't cuss. I stood my ground. When the chief came up, it's very unfortunate. He had began to touch my shoulder, and I asked him not to touch me. I said, "Just don't touch me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me." I meant it. Do not touch me. Now, by the way, I do have a copy of the video, and I'm going to post a video tonight on my Facebook page. So you guys can look at it. And I'm open to comments, questions, and concerns. I am. But the chief did not touch me. He didn't want to. I saw the look in his eyes. But I understood he had a job to do. But I also had a job to do. And my job was to stand up for my rights with the prayer that I won't be killed tonight. So while this is going on, you had the councilwoman from District 5, Tangela Madden, hollering and screaming across the room, telling the mayor to get her girl. First of all, I ain't nobody's girl. I'm my mother's child. Understand it? I'm a child of God. But I'm saying I ain't nobody's damn girl. Right? And then you had the council clerk yelling and screaming. Now, listen, I've been to a lot of cities and I've spoke on the floor at these cities. And I have never a council clerk become to any visitor of any city. Most times they shut up. They do what they got to do, but you do not hear them speaking. So I was amazed because this so-called council president, at least that's what they say he is, right? He allowed her to holler, scream, and fuss. I guess she was, I don't know who she was yelling at. I really don't, but she was yelling like she ain't have no damn sense, right? Just yelling. You got council person Tangela Madden here again. Last week, it was Councilwoman Edwina A.G. using the FUCK. You know, she was saying the F word, right? Bad behavior across the board. This time, you got Tangela Madden, who's part of the 157 crew, the dumb and dumb crew, the bankruptcy crew, you understand? The crew that does not sit on any city committees, the crew that don't do a damn thing in the city of Maple Heights but cause chaos, conflict, and confusion. They get their monthly stipend of $12.50 every single month for not serving the residents of the city of Maple Heights. That's what you're dealing with. And the council president, he allows them to get away with that shiggity ain't, shiggity can't, boo, right? But to have the police officer approach me and try to remove me was just ridiculous. What if that just would have turned out really, really bad, right? That would have been a hell of a news story. Hell of a news story. So after I got done, because I stood my ground, I also made it very clear to Chief Hansen that I didn't like the interview that he gave to the media regarding my family. I did. Because let me tell you guys something. I don't care who you're interviewing with or for. If you don't know the entire story, all you got to do to stay safe is say, you know what? No comment. No comment. No comment until I get further information. That should be suffice. But if you try to paint my family, the siblings who were best friends, yeah, they had a falling out, and it should not have gone that far. It should not have gone that far. I'll be the first to say it, the second and the third. It should have never gone that far. But before you give an interview, at least know the story. Know the story. So I gathered my belongings. Marva Patterson, who rode with me, we were eventually escorted out by the chief of police. In all due respect, when we got to the back door, the chief and we had a brief conversation. He gave me his condolences for what happened at the park, and we parted. But let me put this disclaimer out there. I've heard some rumors in the community that people have blamed Mayor Annette Blackwell for what happened at the park. It was not her fault. It had nothing to do with the city of Maple Heights because it could have been held in Warrensville. It could have been held in the city of Cleveland. It could have been held in Solon, Chagrin Falls. If that incident was going to happen, it didn't matter about the location. It was going to happen. And it's no one's fault but the individual who allegedly committed the crime. So I'm putting that out there as a family member. The other reason why I was at the council member is because my aunt wanted me to publicly apologize to the city of Maple Heights and the mayor because of everything that gone on. that day that it should never, ever happen. So everybody got hurt. But because Maple Heights Council president acted upon pure ignorance and abuse of power, he never received a compliment from the business owner that has been there for more than 40 years. And he never had the opportunity to allow council as a whole hear the apology from my aunt, whose son is now in jail. He'll probably end up spending the rest of his life in jail, if not get the death penalty. And her daughter, who's no longer with us, and her grandchild that she never had the opportunity to see. So let me say this to every single public official, every single elected official. If you are not able to sit in the seat and serve people the way you should, you need to be immediately removed from that seat. We don't want you there. And I don't care what city, what position, we don't want you there, and we don't need you there. So I can't wait until the next election, maybe his election, because I know what I need to do. And we need to find people who are going to be about the business of their constituents, and that they're in the helping business of helping people, rather than sitting as though they are some damn kings and queens at a poor person's play yard. It just does not make any sense to me. And let me also make it very clear that I am not, and I have never been anti the police. Never. You know, as a child, and like I said, I'm very transparent. I was molested by a Cleveland detective. A couple of years ago, a police officer in the city of Brooklyn held his gun, and accused me of, said I looked like somebody who was burglarizing homes or whatever. So I don't know what that was about, but I've had my dealings with them. And then this incident here, to have a police officer escort me out of a public meeting, and at the same time get threatened with criminal charges, was totally unacceptable. It was public humiliation. It shouldn't happen to the worst of the worst of the worst, but these things happen. So Councilperson Ron Johnson, he's a special individual, and I tagged him tonight because I wanted him to know that I was talking about him tonight. See, I'm transparent. See what I want to say. And just so you know, people are probably asking, hey, do you really know Councilperson Ron Jackson? Well, truth be told, I thought I did. Hell, I even helped him win 2 times for his campaign, right? But at the end of the day, that will never happen again, because that relationship is over and done. There's no kumbaya. There's no coming back. There's no nothing. I am sick and tired or sick of people abusing their power. And more so, I'm sick and tired of council persons not standing up and stepping up for what is right. I don't give a damn who you are. I just don't. Wrong is wrong and right is right. And that was definitely wrong. Okay, now, but this is a story we need to get to, because this story needs to be on Maple Heights public records. Public records, public records. And the city of Maple Heights council is doing everything in their power not to make this public records. And rumors told me, people have told me today, that the reason why councilperson Ron Jackson, the reason why he did what he did, now this is just rumors, all talk, no gossip, just a little drama. So this is what they're telling me, allegedly, is that they thought that I wanted to talk about this letter, and they were doing everything in their power not to make this public record. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You can try to stop me from speaking at a council person, but eventually this will be public records, and we'll make sure this is part of a. But here's the thing about government and podcast and media. You can't stop the media. You stopped me from speaking the other night because you had me escorted out by a police officer. You put my life in danger. That's what you did. And I would have never done that to anybody, but you did that. In the climate where we live today, you set up here and called a white man to handle a black woman. And across this country, we see the end results of what happens when things like that take place. Somebody end up being injured or dead. And Mr. Ron Jackson, you let me know that you preferred for me to be dead on Wednesday night. That's something unbelievable. So here's the second issue. Brown on Cleveland, Brown on Cleveland, Brown on Cleveland. I wanted to bring to your attention. Now, I need to go back to July 21st, 2021. I want you guys to look at this. July 1st, 2021. This is a letter written by Councilperson Stafford Shannette, right here, right here, right here. It's on official letterhead. And this letter was written to a white couple. Now, here's the reverse. Let me say this real quick. Black folks love to complain when they think that white folks have done something to them. But when Black people do something to white folk, people don't say anything. People act like, hey, they have a right to do it. Well, again, wrong is wrong, right is right. And what I'm getting ready to tell you now, I just think it's absolutely wrong. So let me set the stage for you. This is Brown on Cleveland. This is another dumb move, but this time you got caught, right? 2 years later, but you got caught. According to the law director, Frank Casalo, he stated because the 2-year limit had passed, there's nothing you can do about this, but yet still, there's still misconduct in office. So again, the General Assembly needs to revisit that, and they don't need to put a statute of limitation on public officials and elected officials who operate under misconduct of law. Oh, misconduct. And also let me say this, any council person who refuses to sit on any committees is also misconduct in office, and it's malfeasance, and they should automatically lose their seat. So that's something else that needs to happen. And Maple Heights needs to do this. Maple Heights needs to put some legislation in place where council can govern themselves, because they don't have any legislation in place, nothing but a damn 220 rule that don't mean a hill of beans. This is the reason why the 157 crew can't exist and do what the hell they want to do and cause chaos, conflict, and disruption and stop the mayor progress anytime they want to. And that is a damn shame. And the citizens of Maple Heights should be outraged. Brown on Cleveland. I said it. So let me get down to this letter real quick. Here's the situation. There was a situation that occurred the month of July 2021, where Councilperson Shannette, at that time, the lady was his fiance. Now she is his wife. So what happened was she went to this restaurant in the city of Maple Heights. The restaurant is called Creekside Restaurant and Bar. It's a beautiful restaurant because I've been there to eat lunch. And when I went there, I didn't feel any type of racial discord. I didn't feel uncomfortable. It was very inviting, very inviting. And keep in mind, I'm not a light-skinned Black woman. I'm a dark-skinned Black woman. So you can't say I got treated nice because I'm biracial and I look white, because clearly I don't. Okay, so at anywho, so apparently, and these are his words, so I know it's correct. His fiance went to this restaurant on July 20th, 2021, right? She had gone there rather late and the restaurant was getting ready to close. Well, the manager told her that, she wanted her to, hurry up and, just choose her order because the restaurant was getting ready to close. And, they just wanted to go home. I'm quite sure they were just tired. So they're serving her, they're taking her order, her and her friend, and she may have had her kid with her, something like that. So during this encounter, all of a sudden, the fiance tells the waitress, that she didn't like her attitude. Oh, what does that got to do with anything? The lady is serving you. She's being nice. Only thing she said to her apparently was, hey, we're getting ready to close. I just need for you to order. I don't think the lady's being rude. The lady's trying to go home. I mean, you came in at the last second of the damn hour and you want somebody to cater you. Anyway, make a long story short, I guess from saying that, the lady's probably tired. The fiance, I don't know what's going on with her. But anyway, there's some words that are exchanged, right? Blah, 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 blah. So to resolve the issue, the manager allowed them to eat for free. So the fiance ate for free, the child ate for free, and her friend ate for free. So everybody got a free meal, right? They probably got about $70 worth of a free meal. Okay, there you go. So the next week, the girlfriend comes back, the fiance comes back, her and Shanette comes, right? So they come to the restaurant. They have a seat waiting to be seated. And the manager tell him, I guess the owner say, we don't want her here, right? We don't want you here because I guess of your behavior that you displayed the week before, right? Well, Councilperson Shanette said, he felt a little embarrassed. Well, you got to make sure you control or understand who you're dating. So you don't know what they're doing outside the community. They could be acting like a damn fool. But I don't know if she was acting like a fool. I really don't. But I just know this. The manager, the owners didn't want her in there. So when they said they didn't want her in there, all of a sudden, Councilperson Shanette started accusing the restaurant owners, who are an elderly white couple, of discriminatory behavior. Because he got his girlfriend, his fiance side. He didn't get their side. He just sent this threatening letter on official Maple Heights letterhead without the authorization of city council or the mayor. He just sent it. So by doing this, he sort of kind of made the elderly couple, the owners of the business, feel as though this was a threatening letter coming from the city of Maple Heights. This is the impression that he left. But he had no authorization to use this letterhead. I mean, none. Who in the hell does he think he is? I'm Councilperson Shanette. I got multiple bankruptcies and foreclosures, and tax liens. That's who I be. No, but this is the letter. This is crazy. And what he says on page 2, now this is crazy. Listen to this. He says, based on the facts in his paragraph, he says the actions taken by Creekside Restaurant described in my first paragraph makes no sense. Dude, you don't make sense. See, your fiance went to a restaurant, right? She told the waitress that she was rude. She wasn't nice. Then she got a free meal. She ate for free, right? Then she come back the next week, probably trying to get a free meal. I don't know, but she came back with you, so you probably was going to pay. But you never knew what happened. You never knew. So what did you do? You took one side of the story and you wrote this threatening letter. And then you said this letter, which in fact is crazy. At the end, you said, typically a restaurant action to comp a meal bill is an effort to encourage customer satisfaction and repeat business. So I guess he meant, well, that's the reason why she came back, but she probably didn't tell him about what happened. Then he says, we assert and believe that management has decided to view Miss Sims as hostile and disgruntled rather than a customer with a legitimate grievance. First of all, what was this legitimate grievance? Did she put it in writing the day of? No, she took a free meal and she ate it and she gobbled it and she chop, and she smacked her lips and she probably did like this. Ain't no telling, you understand? No telling whatsoever. Because if it was really an issue, it didn't matter if they comped the meal. If it was really an issue and if somebody treated me like that in the restaurant, I don't want your free meal. Because first of all, you're going to cook the meal. And now I got to be careful about whether or not I want to eat the meal. So who's going to have a bad time at a restaurant, take their free food, then come back the next week? Nobody. Nobody that I know with common sense. That wasn't the brightest idea, but you came back. So they wouldn't let you eat her. They didn't say that he couldn't eat. They said they didn't want her in the restaurant. They didn't even say that they could not order takeout. They just didn't want her in the restaurant, apparently, because of her behavior. They didn't call her hostile or disgruntled. Shanette made that assumption. You made that assumption because if you could prove it, there would be another letter attached from the restaurant owners saying that she was hostile and disgruntled. So you called your fiance hostile and disgruntled. Those are your words, not their words. And then you said this perception was based on the report by the patron and the subject manager, who are both Caucasian, and Miss Sims is African American. Miss Sims nor I make these allegations lightly. First of all, dude, you weren't even there. You weren't even there. You weren't even there. We understand that claims of racial discrimination and or motivation are very serious and took this into account before submitting this correspondence for review. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Again, abuse of power. It appears to be abuse of power. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the position you're in. It doesn't matter what your job title in. At the end of the day, you gotta treat people fair. You have to treat them with respect. And what I really don't understand is how anybody can use an organization's letterhead without permission to send such a disparaging letter. And there's no sanctions that are imposed. Now, I work for corporate America. I also work for another piece of corporate America that also have a contract with an entity called corporate America. So I do multiple things. But what I do understand is if I were to use anybody's letterhead and send out a threatening letter and accuse someone of discriminatory acts, again, in the climate of which we're living, I probably would be immediately terminated. Terminated. There's no difference when it comes to an elected official. Here's the thing that gets me about elected officials and people. We allow elected officials to do what they damn well please. We do. There are no sanctions. There are no rules. There are no excuses. Be disrespectful at a council meeting and not be sanctioned. I don't care if you are the council president. I don't know anybody who can just simply call the police on someone just because you have this authority to do so for any reason. No one. Because the other part of that is that then you need charges brought up on you for wasting the time of the police officer, because he or she, I'm quite sure, they have a million things on their plate. And to have somebody removed who's questioning you about the Constitution of this here United States of America was egregious. It was an egregious act, and it is atrocious. And you should be ashamed of yourself. But the reason why I know you are not ashamed of yourself, Mr. Jackson, is because sometimes stupidity sets in, and sometimes we become so ignorant and so dumb that we don't even know right from wrong. And that's the sad part. So how do you become a legislator and sit in a seat when you can't stand for right and you support wrong? I'm just asking. This is simply Brown on Cleveland. So here's the deal, you guys. Election 2023 is forthcoming. Brown on Cleveland, we have endorsed several candidates, or shall I say, the Brown Report newspaper. We have endorsed several candidates. And the people that we have endorsed, I can almost guarantee you that they are going to win. They're going to win. Our publication, our podcast, our news, we don't report negative news. We report the truth. We report the facts. And the reason why some of you guys want to say it's negative is simply because the articles don't favor your position, because you are wrong in your position. And I refuse to support wrong when it is not right. But our folks are going to be successful. And those who continue to sit in seats, who continue to act as though they are untouchable, which in fact, let me keep repeating, it's a pure. So we will eventually tell you about Tuesday the 12th. It's the primary election for those of you who have more than 2 competitors. So our first endorsement, of course, we are supporting Councilperson Richard Trujansky. We are for Maple Heights District 6. So if you live in the city of Maple Heights, make sure you go and handle your business. Okay. And then we're also looking for Michael Dudley in Garfield Heights. And we want to see a Michael Dudley race and a Chuck Donahue runoff. All right. Brown on Cleveland, Brown on Cleveland, Brown on Cleveland. We'll talk to you next Friday. Same time, same place. My name is Kimberly Brown, and this is Brown, simply Brown on Cleveland. You guys have a safe day, peaceful night, and hey, I'll see you in the community. God is good. God is great. Have a good day. Have a good night, guys. Have a good night.